So today I'm just going to take you through sculpting this guy here using stamps to put the nose, mouth and ears on, and a little bit of hair, some extra stuff at the top, and then just some texturing work. Okay, so today I'm just going to do some kind of hard surface, just something a little bit different. I'm going to go to sculpting and subdivide a sphere up to 1,000,000. I'm going to grab the mask brush. Symmetry, I'm going to turn on radial and number of strokes, maybe 10, and we'll go radial about the ZX. And I'm just going to draw some circles on here. Grab the Inflate brush. Pull that. Actually, that didn't look too bad. I wasn't going to do that way, but I think I will now. I was going to pull them out, but I might just sink the surface in. So it ended up looking alright. So we've got those sunk in there. And now I'm going to go symmetry along the x-axis. Grab the flatten brush. Symmetry. I'll link symmetry. Actually, now I'll link them all. I'll go symmetry around the x-axis. Says our x-axis there. And I want a kind of a sharp line coming down here, and I want it to be symmetrical. So I'm going to go with the flatten brush, the settings, go to custom plane, going to control click in the viewport here. I'll create a custom plane. You can change the size of that plane as well. And that's about right. I want it to be a little bit off the surface, so not too much, just a little bit. And now when I start sculpting in here, it's going to create a sharp line there, kind of creating some goggles. Now I might do the same thing with the mask again. I'm going to do it on a separate layer. I'm going to come in here, and I want to create a bunch of dots going along. I might just do a single tap. So to do a single tap, we'll bring that pressure. Let's bring the pressure right up to maybe 1,000. I'll leave that at 100 actually. Leave it at 100. I'll change my fall off curve. I'll just pull that up to about there. That's not right. We will bring that up to 500 and just do some little circles on here. That's actually working okay if we're just doing a single click. Not that one. This is a rush job. You could be more precise. And I'm going to invert that, and now I'm actually going to pull that out using the Inflate tool. I might actually just type in a number here, just to get a little bump. And I'll clear that mask. I'll just create a new layer. And now I want a kind of a sharp line running around, perhaps both sides of these. I might do a sharp knife around the edge up here. So I'm going to grab the knife tool. I'm going to come into steady stroke, turn it up, and just see where that goes. And I want the knife to be inverted to pull out. That's too much pressure, obviously. And we'll bring that pressure right down. So first I'll just turn off the stroke so I can see what it's going to look like. That's actually about right, but it's a little bit, I want it to pinch a bit more. That's about right. And I want it to just push a bit less. I'll turn the steady stroke back on, and I'm just going to draw from here. But that's too much steady stroke for me. Just a little bit. There we go, that's better. Just going to drag that around. Well, now you can see now I'm affecting all those stamps, and I didn't want to do that. So let me go back to here, and I'm going to copy that mask, come onto this new layer, paste that mask, and then I'm going to invert the mask as well. So now those will all be protected and they won't be distorted. So now I'll come and do that again. Sculpting's not going to be fantastic, but it's going to be okay for what I want to do here. And also I want one coming in here, but I might make the inside one with some sharp edges. So if I come into freehand and go to line, I can now tap there. I'm going to do some hard lines. Tap, tap. And I'll right click and it'll draw the line in there. So we've gone a bit too far there, it took the last click. So I'll grab the flatten brush, I'll clear it, I'll turn back on the symmetry. Symmetry stays on, which is nice. And if I click here, it's going to flatten to that area. So I'm flattening to this area here, so I'll make it bigger. I don't want to come over this edge there, I'm just trying to pull in. Needs to be a fixed plane actually. Flatten. Mouse down. So now if I click here, that's where it's always going to flatten. Looks like I've got some sculpting in there from before when I was messing around, so let's try this area. And there we go, that's better. So what I did there was I clicked the part where I'd flattened before, so I know that this is the angle that I want it to be, so this angle would have gone all the way up here. So by clicking there, when in mouse down mode, it's going to continue to keep that angle all the way up, so I can sculpt all the way up, and I can still keep that sharp edge as you can see there. These are almost like ski goals. So what do I want down here is I want to put a nose on here, so I'm going to use a stamp for the nose. Come into my content view. Under the content browser, sculpting. Sculpting actually has these nose and eyes and everything in here, so I'm going to grab this nose stamp here, and I need to turn off. I need to be on the pull brush actually, and I'm going to dock that in. I should have just docked that in straight down the bottom here. And I come in, go to the sculpting, and I've got the pull brush turned on. Click on the nose, turn off symmetry because I don't want symmetry for this. Get the size of my nose I want there. And I don't really want my nose to be sculpting over this here. So I'm just going to check my layers here. What have I got here in this layer? What's on that layer? Okay. So what I want, I might actually block off some of this up here. So I'm going to go a new layer. And I'm going to call this layer nose. And grab the mask here. And I just want to mask in this area here. I believe you can probably use the edge detection here on this mask, and it may bring that right down about there. There we go. So it's gonna use the edge detection there to make sure I don't get that bit down there. So I may want a little bit eventually, so I might sculpt in the nose part into there. So I invert that, and now invert was right, so that's protected. And now I can come back to my pull brush with the nose. If I do a single dab, you see it's not going to do much, because what we need a lot of pressure for this. So let me go up to, let me say 10,000, and do a single click and see what happens. It's too much. 2,000. It's looking okay. So let me come up and do a single click. So that's about right, maybe a bit more. 3,000. We come in here and we do a single click about there. That might be about right. And now I'm going to clear that mask, and I'm going to blend this in. Just I've got a bit too much because I've got the pressure synced there, so I need to bring that in. And then I'll just pull up this part of the nose actually with a lot of pressure. Just kind of manually getting it in there. That's fine. And I'll put a mouth in as well, because I just saw a mouth texture down here before. Pretty sure I saw a mouth. We had the nose. We got some, there we go, we got some lips there. Let's put some lips on as well. And we'll bring that pressure right up again to 2,000. It's looking a bit strange there. What I'll do is I'll turn off the fall off from this brush. And I'll enclose it as well. Oh, I don't need to enclose it. That should be okay. So it's looking better there, but I don't want it to be around that area there. So let's change that to 0.5. I believe that's the gray value on this. There we go. That's looking better. And now I want some ears. So I'm going to put some ears on here as well. See what they look like. So I want to be flipped. And I haven't got my symmetry on, so let me turn the symmetry on. Come in here. Maybe bring those ears a bit closer. Okay, he's looking all right there. So I think that will do for my sculpting for now. Just something very, very quick. You can see, obviously, I haven't put any effort into these goggles really. I can do a lot of other different techniques to actually make that look a whole lot nicer. Just to finish off though, I might actually, no, I'll leave that exactly as it is. And now we'll just come in and we'll just texture the sky up. So I'm going to come into the, first I'll save the file. Okay, so now I'm going to come up to the material view. I'm going to create a single material. And that's the background selected there. Come up to 40 Publish, grab the paintbrush. We'll stay in symmetry. And I want to put a skin texture on this guy's entire face. But I don't want it to be up on those goggle bits. So I'll come in and have to draw those manually later. A feature that I want to add later on to a future update is to pull across the mask and use that on here as well. So use the mask for painting, but currently you can't. So for now, I'm just going to do it manually. So we will come into the stencils here, and I'm going to use the skin textures that I've just been using for all the other tutorials. I'll use the side here. Control click. I'll just show you what it looks like there. The stencil, bring down that transparency. I'm just looking for the color, so that's enough there. Go to settings. I'm going to go to lasso fill, fill back faces. And I'm just going to select this entire guy here. Now, you don't actually need to do this at the high resolution version. You can project at a lower resolution, and if you go at a lower resolution, it'll actually be a lot faster as well. So let's go to the side here, and I'm going to bring up Octane as well, and just show that you can paint using Octane active at the same time. Octane takes a little bit of time to activate, I've found. And I'm actually going to set this up now as well, so that I've got some good lighting. So 40 publish, take a TextCon tag, and then I drag on go into the image texture, drag on the file to the TextCon tag, and now from the HDR viewer I can just change the HDRs. So that one looks okay. I'm just going to file, save that, and save the textures. And now I just want to come in. I just want to fix up some of the skin just going along here, because it gets a little bit stretched when you do a projection from one side through to the other. So I go back to the sphere there and use that same texture, and I'm just gonna, I won't do a projection there. I need to change that brush back to freehand. I'm just gonna brush on these areas here. Where the texture might be warped. Doesn't necessarily matter on the goggles there, but I'm just cleaning it up. So at the moment you can see down below an Octane view, it's updating in real time. I'll just leave it doing that for now. If it gets too slow, then you can change it in the display settings so that it'll change to update during stroke instead. After stroke instead of during stroke. Now I'm just going to put some eyes straight into this here. So I'm going to, well, how do I want that to look actually? I'll just make it look sufficiently weird, as I always do. So we'll take the stencil here, grab an eye. I'm just going to fill that up with a giant eye. And what I'll do is I will try to mask it out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the mask, and I'm going to have the edge detection still on, but I'm going to turn it all the way down to 0. And now I'm just going to mask in here, and it won't go outside where the mask starts to go up, where the edge starts to go up. So mask all of that, but I'll make sure I get these bits at least. So I'll come over to these bits, and now I'm just going to shift smooth the edges of this mask here. So that will be where the eyes are going to go. So invert that mask. And now, what I'm going to do, actually the mask isn't restricted for painting. So I'm using this more as a guideline, really just for the painting here. But in a future build, as I said, I will add in the ability to use the mask when sculpting, or when painting. So I'm just going to come in and just use that as a guideline there, sort of. So I think that's looking weird enough. And then we'll get a nose texture for the nose. And let me just remove that mask. I'll create a new layer actually. Create a new layer. And I'll grab a nose texture. About there. We'll just paint on a bit of a nose texture. Smooth out some of these edges. And go under the nostrils. Just to add some darkness. Just paint those on there. And smooth out some of that texture as well. Well, a bit too much smoothing. Must have the smoothing set pretty high. 2000. Okay, good nose, and we'll do some lips while we're here as well. Might spin these lips around. Could have also flipped it in the y-axis. Getting pretty close. I think that'll do just fine right there. And let's see if we can get some ear texture on there as well and see if that actually matches up. So don't need that to be flipped, but we'll flip it in the x-axis. And then we'll try and match this up to this ear here. That might be good enough. Got a bit of the hair up there, which we don't really need. So I'll just pull that down. I just want to get rid of some of that hair. I will just leave it there for now. Okay, so I'm just going to take these goggles that I just found from the internet. I'm just going to put them on instead, just roughly, just because those eyes look ridiculous. Everything else looks good except for these eyes. So let's just blank those eyes out. It's not going to be a great render, but it's going to be good enough. It's because I had an issue before. I'm going to come up to body paint where the textures weren't saving. File. And just go save all textures. Just to really make sure that they're saved. Sometimes files saved didn't actually save the textures I've found. So now I'm going to come back to standard view and bring up Octane. Here's my guy. And I'm going to bring up the content view. I'm just going to change through some HDRs. Kind of need one on the mountain, really, but I don't have one on the mountain. Maybe we'll just use that one. Okay, so that's it. Done for today.